Heidly ho, neighborinos. We are back on another episode of the EVERBLACK Podcast, proudly brought to you by Blacklight Art Design and RW Promotion. I'm your host, Nev. Joining us on this episode is the one and only Head Ned from the world's only Ned Flanders heavy Nedal band, Okilly Dokilly, who will be touring the country in February 2020 with our very own Simpsons themed doom rockers, Dr. Colossus. Now, being a massive Simpsons fan, I had an absolute blast talking to Head Ned and hearing the story about how it all came together and what we can expect from their first trip down under, what they call people who dress up as other Ned Flanderses at their gigs, what they call their tour van is pretty funny too. And he just kept me laughing throughout the whole chat. Just really cool guy, really funny, and I'm just keen as hell to see them down here early next year. It's just going to be a real good time. Well, the tour kicks off on February 11th in Brisbane at the Zoo, then February 12th in Canberra at the Basement, February 13th in Newcastle at the Cambridge Hotel, February 14th in Sydney at the Crow Bar, and then wrapping up February 15th in Melbourne at the Corner Hotel. Tickets are on sale now from troubadour-music.com. Get them now and maybe even join in the fun and get your Ned Flanders on as well. I'll be dressing up as Nev Flanders, which will just be me, but in a green sweater and my normal glasses. And I can do better than that. I'm gonna go all out. I think I'm gonna go full Ned Flanders for this one. Join in on the fun, and you should too. It's just gonna be awesome. Also, a big shout out to Tim Price from the Faction Live for airing this on the station last week. Thanks for the support, brother. The Faction, if you're unaware, is an online heavy music radio station that plays not only some of the biggest bands in the world, but also throws their support behind the underground and upcoming bands as well. Download the app from the App Store or head to thefaction.live for more info and get behind it, because they're big supporters of music, especially here in Australia, which is awesome. All right, before we go into this episode, I do have to mention that it is brought to you by our good friends at Blacklight Art Design, who are our go-to for all our screen printing needs. They've done all our shirts and hats for EVERBLACK Media, and they've got such a great turnaround. Highly recommend checking these guys out at www.blacklightad.com.au. Also, want to give a shout out to our good friends at RW Promotion, who are the best in the biz when it comes to stickers, flyers, banners, badges, and all other promo you need for your band or business. Go check them out at www.rwpromotion.com.au. Don't forget to subscribe to the show through iTunes, Spreaker. We're now on Spotify. We also upload it to YouTube and Facebook Direct. So if you're scrolling through, you can check it out. Also, feel free to share our stuff. We really appreciate it, and all the feedback. The support so far has been awesome. Thank you very much, guys. And we have more awesome interviews on the way. All right, here is my chat with the one and only Head Ned from Okilly Dokilly. Get your tickets now. It's going to kick ass. Enjoy, neighborinos.
Head Ned, thanks for joining us on the show, man. How's things going?
Pretty good. Just got back home from tour. We've been diddling out across the United States for the last 5 weeks or so. Yeah, it's been crazy. We had a van broke down on us, or a van which we had called Ned Vanders blew a transmission, so we had to swap it out for we got a new one. It's shinier. We call it High to Silver. Yeah, other than that, the tour's been fun. It's good to be kind of back home for just a little bit.
Was that the one with Max Sabbath?
Yeah, we were out touring with Max Sabbath, and the opener was a band called Playboy Man Baby.
That's the best. That's amazing. Sounds like it was a good tour, though.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was a long tour, but it was good. So we started out. We were 3 shows in when our van kind of broke on us, but then we got going. A lot of shows down in like Texas and Florida, down in the southern U.S., where it's just it's humid and more humid and a little bit more humid, and we play shows in sweaters, so definitely not the best attire to be playing when it's a little toasty and humid out. But we survived, made it up to the Northeast, and went all around, and yeah, it was a blast.
Talking about playing in sweaters, dude. You are, of course, coming down to Australia early next year, which is just at the tail end of our summer. So, lots of beers, bro.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna need to hydrate any liquids we can get in there. Cider, beer, maybe some water. I don't know. Yeah, it'll be toasty. Is one thing that my wife had mentioned. I was like, oh yeah, we're touring in February. The weather should be nice. And she's like, no, it's backwards. And I was quickly reminded, like, yeah, yep, nope, she's right. It's gonna be a little toasty, but we've performed in toasty conditions, and that's why we have multiple sets of sweaters so that we don't have to wear the same sweaty one every night.
Excellent. Is she from here? Is she?
No, she's from here in Phoenix, but she's just kind of more aware of the world than I am.
Have you guys ever been down here before at all on holidays?
No, I haven't yet. It'll be my first time to Australia. So yeah, pretty much all of us. I don't think anybody in the band has ever been to Australia before. I've got some family that grew up there a little bit, and some friends that have been down in, I think Western Australia. I think over near Perth is where where some of my relatives are from. But other than that, no, it'll be a new experience.
That's awesome. There is a connection there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
That's awesome. Well, of course, you're obviously aware of the Simpsons episode of where they come down to Australia. So is that what your expectations are, that everyone just plays knifey spoony and drinks Fosters and shit like that?
I've been kind of reading up on that episode a little bit because I've heard it was like halfway well received in Australia. So I'm not like a little bit reluctant to kind of reference that. But yeah, that episode's great. Like, we've been kind of mentioning that we've been calling ahead to the venues to see if the circle pits swirl clockwise there. And fortunately, the band that's opening on the tour, Dr. Colossus.
Yes,
I've been chatting with Dr. John, their front man. I've actually met him before as well, oddly enough, and he's been giving me some of the lowdown, and kind of he'll be helping us bring Okilly Dokilly to Australia and learn about the place a little bit and whatnot. So he's been a good contact for sure.
They're a great band, Dr. Colossus. So this tour is just it's just going to be phenomenal. It kicks off on February 11, and man, we can't wait to see both you guys together. It's just going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Dr. Colossus popped into my radar early on when we released, and they've actually been around a little longer than we have. And yeah, I saw that, and they're Simpsons themed doom metal. And yeah, when I saw that band, I was like, well, that would be the perfect band to play with. And we didn't think we'd ever get the chance or opportunity to really travel and play shows. Nonetheless get over to Australia. So the fact that it's happening, and the fact that we could get them on the bill, has just been this perfect match, and I'm very excited.
So going back, I know this is a lame question. How did it kick off for you guys? Where did the idea come from to make a Ned Flanders themed metal band? It's genius.
It was just me and our original drummer were joking around with each other, like coming up with this idea. Like, you imagine a band with Rammstein style pyrotechnics, and they're just the heaviest death metal band on the planet, and they walk out on stage, and you just like, big burly lead singer comes out and says, "Hi, we're the Pink Backpacks," or like whatever the worst name for the heaviest death metal band was. So that was our running kind of joke, was like trying to come up with this really terrible name for a death metal band. And one of the names that came up was Okilly Dokilly. So it kind of started with that, and then we're like, what if the lead singer dressed like Ned Flanders? And then we're like, what if they all dressed like Ned Flanders and all the songs were Ned quote? And then we kind of stumbled upon the pun Nedal. And when we realized we could use that, and we could also spell Okilly Dokilly with the word kill in it twice, we were like, okay, let's maybe do something with this. So we planned on playing maybe one or two little small bar shows, play at a local pub or something with 7 other bands. But put some pictures and some demos on the internet, and ended up with 20,000 Facebook likes a week later. So it kind of went a little further than we intended.
Absolutely blew up, brother. I mean, you've even had white wine spritzer featured at the end of an episode of The Simpsons. That is insane, dude.
Yeah, I still don't believe it a little bit. It was wild. We were on tour in February of this year when I got the email from that it was the first email or anything I'd ever gotten from anybody at The Simpsons, and they were like, "Hey, somebody saw this video. We want to put it on an episode." And I was like, "No way!" And yeah, the conversation kind of went on, and we knew it was going to happen. They're like, "Yeah, all we knew is they were going to put the video during the credits, but they didn't really explain like kind of how it would be presented or if anything would lead into it." And that was about 2 months there, and we didn't have an exact date either. So because there were all these up in the air details, we hardly told anybody or really believed it ourselves. And then a week before, in April, right as we were taking off on another tour, we got an email that said, "Hey, it's going to be this Sunday." And then we're playing Sunday in Chicago, and the episode aired about like an hour before we went on stage. So we're in our laptops in the green room watching it, and then got to go announce that to a hyped up crowd. So it was really cool. And the fact that it happened still just kind of sits there as like this odd, like really odd, really humbling thing that I never thought would happen, but it's very cool.
You guys would have just been freaking out.
Yeah, it was funny. It's like we're like mid tour. I was like in our trailer gathering some T-shirts and stuff, getting everything ready, and then we just kind of threw it up on the laptop, saw that happen, and we're like, we wanted to party and celebrate and whatnot, but we had a show to play, so we just partied and celebrated with all the fans. We got to announce it. The show in Chicago was sold out that night, so that was really cool to walk out to the crowd, say that just happened, and then watch all sorts of destruction and Heavy Nedal go down.
That's unreal, man. Of course, I mean, you guys have done phenomenally well. If I'm even saying that word right this time of morning. For an independent band, you've done amazing. I mean, I'm sure it hasn't come without its, blood, sweat, and beers. Apart from, of course, the Simpsons episode, what's been another big highlight for you, another benchmark?
It's just kind of seeing some of the growth in like our shows, because we did a headline tour earlier this year. This last tour we just went on was our 5th one, and the one before that was one of the first times we were starting to see like sell out shows. Lots of people coming. We've been teaming up with like Simpsons trivia groups, and that's been really cool. I think one of our big achievements, though, has to do with sometimes fans come to the shows in costume. If they're dressed as Ned, we call them bonus Neds. And we'll get like an average of like, 2 to 3 bonus Neds per show. It's great to see like the pit, but then one guy dressed as Ned Flanders out there just tearing everything up. And oddly enough, we had a show in London last year where there were 23 bonus Neds. We had 23 people dressed as Flanders. And it was so great because people like couldn't tell who was in the band and who wasn't, because there were so many like Neds walking around. It was great. So that's our next like goal, is to see if any city can beat London and bring more than 23 bonus Neds.
Mate, do you know what that sounds like to me? A challenge. That's like some Guinness World Record stuff. How many Ned Flanders you could get at a Okilly Dokilly show.
That's not a bad idea.
A stadium, man.
Yeah, I think we might see if the Guinness World Record book has a little spot for a new record.
Dude, I think, hey, I'd even fly over for that. I'd ask my wife first, but yeah.
Of course.
That's so good, man. Of course, do you have a favorite Ned episode? Is there one that sticks out to you?
Oh yeah. So definitely the episode Hurricane Neddy. That one's very, very Ned focused. The one where Ned's, a bunch of like a hurricane comes through town and only hits Ned's house and tears it down, and just like all the bad stuff just keeps happening to him, and he's just finally kind of snaps and yells at the whole town. There's some great bits there, and he takes himself to an insane asylum, and they go into his history. That's the first time you see his lousy beatnik parents. Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites when it comes to Ned.
That's mine too, actually. I love that. I just can't. His parents. They just crack me up every time. Man.
We've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas.
Out of ideas. You'll probably find that down here that the Simpsons are as big as probably what they are over there. Like everyone quotes it. It's become such part of our culture now that we just quote it down here without even thinking about it, man. Like I constantly say dollary dues. I'm on my way to work now, and all day I'll say, people go, how much is this? I'll say it's $50 dues, and without it just rolls off. Thanks to it's funny how that's happened, right?
Yeah,
it's part of the culture.
It's invaded my own. It's just from being in this band. Like I never say the word brutal anymore without tailing it off with brutalino. So yeah, but yeah, that's great to hear. And that's one thing that surprised me when we started this band. I thought The Simpsons was just, kind of a US TV show, and I never realized how much of like an international reach it had. And we had like T-shirts and stuff we were selling online that kept getting shipped off to Australia, and Germany was a surprising one. I think that's where I think Australia and Germany are like the two, other than the US, like countries with like we get the most listens on Spotify.
Wow,
which was crazy, but that's really cool to see.
Because I don't know if you guys see the memes over there, but Tobias, the little Aussie kid, is huge down here. Like it's a common meme. Like for Tobias is just it's an everyday. I can't scroll Facebook without seeing like that meme with him doing something. It's the greatest because it's so.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, I think I was reluctant about it, but I think I'm gonna have to build some references for the Bart versus Australia into our gig. If you think it'll go over well, I think we might.
If you bring a big boot out, you bring a big giant boot out. Mate, you'll have people lining up for a little kick in the bum. Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to get some custom Okilly Dokilly boots or something. Get those all set up.
Ugg boots. Unreal, man. Well, of course, I mean, yeah. So you recently released Howdly Toodly this year, but have you guys got a third one in the works? Ideas for that?
We don't have anything in the works for a third record. We do have a couple songs that didn't quite make the record for Howdly Toodly. A couple like hidden tracks that we might do. We're looking at releasing special ahead of some of the touring that we're doing, possibly right before Australia, or we're heading to Europe later this year as well. But yeah, I'd be excited to release some of those. There's one based off a Ned quote where he's praying, and he's like, and let's not forget the humane but determined boys over at the slaughterhouse. So Ned's thanking those. I got a whole song built out of that. It turned out really good. So yeah, we've got a couple songs in our pocket, but nothing set up for an album just yet.
Of course, I mean, this tour you've just announced is pretty massive. It's huge. That's like how many dates? Like 38 dates? Something like that?
We've got 38 shows. It's all kind of a combination of like, we're doing a tour in the U.S. with it's a co-headlining tour with a guy named MC Lars, who's like it's like hip hop but uses like samples hardcore bands and things. And then we're going to England for a while, Europe for a while, and then over to Australia and New Zealand for a bit. So we'll be traveling quite a bit, which the extra challenge is we have only so much luggage we can take on a plane, and sweaters fill quite a bit of luggage. So we'll have to figure that out.
So what about beyond that, beyond February? Have you got big plans? for the band?
Nothing much yet. We're working on a little bit more, like a couple more US runs, a couple more US shows around there, and then possibly doing another music video or two. But I think we might start to take a little bit of a break after that. We've been pushing Brutalino shows, and after a 38 show run in all the different countries, it'd be good to mix a little Flanders Planters punch and kick back for a second.
That sounds like a good idea. It'll be well deserved because, mate, we can't wait to see you and the boys down here. It's going to be awesome. The tour kicks off in Brisbane on February 11, where I'm from. That's with Dr. Colossus. Dude, thanks so much for taking the time to hang out today, and I hope you have a kick-ass time with this tour, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for taking time to chat with me and giving me the insights on Australia and the opinion on the Bart versus Australia episode, because I'm definitely gonna work that in there. Bring a big old boot, some knives, some spoons. I'll do it up.